Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. It's happening.
It took a second. I was like, come
never
on.
happened before. What the heck?
Come on, little laptop. You could do it. We are live. I'm so excited to chat with everyone. Say hi in the comments. We have everyone joining today. I'm so excited to talk about this book. We'll just go around and say your name, your channel, reread or not, and like what your rating was. So yeah, you want to start?
Who's starting? Zay?
Me? Okay, yeah. Hi, I'm Zay from Ready Reads. This was a reread for me, and my original rating is 5 stars. So.
I'm Victoria. My channel is Victoria's Romance Reads, and this was my first time rereading, so I have read it before, and I gave it 5 stars the first time, and I think I'm going to keep it as 5 stars, like on Goodreads, but it's more like 4.5, but it's still like 5-ish.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings. I think I'm the only one here that read this book for the first time for this live show. I think I'm going to settle on 4.5 stars.
Hello, I'm Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life. This is my first reread, but it is a reread. My original rating was 3 stars. Actually, okay, my original rating, first of all, was 5, and then I dropped it to a 3 as I got thinking about it, because, you know, like, the shock and everything of that. So anyway, I technically didn't finish my reread this time, but it's probably going to still say a 3, which is not a terrible rating for me. Like, a 3 star is still a solid read.
Mm-hmm.
I will preface, we are going to talk about spoilers, so there are massive spoilers for this book. I know, Crystal, you were like kind of referencing that end, but yeah, just to say that. But I'm Jessica from Pisa Books. This is my first reread. I also did not completely finish, but I think I'm liking it the second time around better. So I gave it like 4.5, 4.75 the first time because I was spoiled for the ending, so I didn't have that shock value my first time around. But I'm appreciating a lot of the little things more because I know what they mean. So like, while I thought it was slow the first time around,
I agree.
it's not. Also, I'm vlogging and I was like, reading Iron Flame and reading this, I'm like, this is a much better book too than Iron Flame was. So
I agree for sure.
Well, my name is Tori. You're on my channel, Novel Life. And this was my first reread. So like, I read it previously. This was like my first time going through. I think I probably gave it 5 stars because of the ending. I did spoil it for myself because I tried to see the end, like the page number.
Oh, no. I didn't know that.
And I looked down, you know, you go down the page and I saw a name and I was like,
Whoa!
I did that too.
No.
Okay. And I probably will keep it at 5. I mean, the first half of the book is very slow, but I appreciate some of the smaller things that I picked up this time around. So I literally just finished probably 10 minutes ago, my reread. So yeah. Someone said, I'm so excited for Crescent City 3. Yes. I mean, I'm assuming everyone here will read Flame of Shadow when it comes out.
I will. I don't want to be spoiled again.
right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely going to.
I think the fact that I think the reason why I enjoyed it more this time, or thought it was like less boring this time, is because I was reading it in like chunks, and whereas the first time that I read it as fast as I could in like the 2 days that it was, because I was afraid of getting spoiled. And I think the fact that I was reading it in chunks this time gave me time to process, and like it didn't feel as like so dragging.
Okay, Monica said it was her first read and she gave it 5 stars and she wasn't bored. I love the small things. I loved Rune in this one. Yeah,
Rune's point of view is my very favorite in this book.
My favorite too. Yeah,
it really saved the book for me. And I liked it. Yeah, it was good.
I think we could talk about, I think it'd be interesting, obviously, like Jess said, we're going to dive into spoilers from like now on. We'll be throwing out a lot of different names. So if you have not read this book or you don't care to be spoiled, throwing it out there. what was your favorite character reading this book compared to like the first one? Like, I feel like the first live show we kind of kept spoilers off like a lot because a lot of us knew what was going to happen in the second book. So I'm just interested in everyone's favorite character for this book.
I think Rune.
Yeah.
I think he's my favorite. It makes me sad that I don't love Bryce and Hunt as much as I want to love them. Like, as much as I feel like I should, you know, but Rune's POV and like especially all the stuff with like him and Daybright and stuff, like all of that was just like so cool. And I just love his character, like of all the characters that got POVs in this book, you know.
Yeah. Rune is definitely my favorite character in this book. I think I love that we sort of got to see him a little bit more. I love that we had his point of view even at all. And I also really liked just what a great big brother that he is to Bryce. I think he's just a fantastic character. And yeah, he was my favorite for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your least favorite?
Ooh.
Do you have an answer, Victoria? I feel like you're asking.
The mayor? He's so boring.
Wait, who is?
What is it?
Arian? I think
Arian.
Arian.
Yeah.
Every time his POV came up, I was like, oh, him again? I was like, about your problems with your queen. I was like, you're so boring. Like, bring me back to like, I was like, even Ethan. I would take Ethan's point of view over his point of view. I was like, you're so boring.
Yeah, they were kind of about the same for me. I think the fact that like Therian was a Mer, like that was sort of interesting and like his part of the world that you didn't ever see. And Ethan's was interesting too because of the history he had with Bryce and all of the more of the connections that were revealed about the pack and things like that. But probably my least favorite, I'm sorry for jumping in, but honestly, like for most of the book, Bryce and Hunt just annoyed the heck out of me. Like I was just so annoyed with them, and I loved them in book one. Like I loved and adored them. I shipped their romance. Like I just thought they were fantastic. And in this book, I just sort of was like, where is the seasoning here? This is lacking in everything. But
yeah, I'm gonna say something that like I don't know if y'all will agree with. My thing with Bryce and Hunt in this book is that I truly feel like some of these sex scenes were forced into this to appease the people that were complaining about the lack of spice in Earth and Blood, when to me it made sense to not have all that much spice in book one, and then all of a sudden we got like all these sex scenes in this book, and I'm like, okay, like
that's always something that I personally am like sensitive to. Like the balance has to be really solid for me. Whereas I feel like we got to see them falling in love in the first part.
Yes.
She had to create some type of tension for why they couldn't be together. And that was just this decision they had to not be physically together, which just felt so contrived to me. And that made me annoyed the whole time because I was like, this just doesn't make sense to me. This is just a reason for them to not be together. And it felt exactly like that, Rachel, where it was just like, oh, time for another spicy scene because, you know,
especially because they said they loved each other in book one. I was like, why are you now saying, oh, we can't be together? Like,
I think Sarah J. Maas does like a really fulfilling, or she has in the past done a really fulfilling romantic development. And she did that here with Rune and Day, which I thought
cared
was
more
like,
about Rune and Day's relationship.
So wonderful. Like I was totally into them. But Bryce and Hunt, man, that's largely why this book is 3 stars for me. Is just because I was just so frustrated and disappointed with how she took their relationship. Like it would have been better, in my opinion, if she could have done so many other things, but like just put one of them in danger. Have that be the reason, not just this agreement that they have, you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I don't mind spice when it's warranted. So like the first book, a lot of people said like, oh, like I wanted more spice. I was totally fine. I'm like, hey, it makes sense for the characters. Like, why throw a sex scene in there if it doesn't make sense, right? And this one, I felt like when, you know, things would get spicy, I felt like it would kind of like draw me out because I felt it's just you're so focused on the fantastical elements in this mystery and trying to figure things out and bouncing back and forth from POVs. And I personally think like that's why Rune is my favorite character, is because I feel like he's had so much development from book 1 and book 2. And then you introduce Day and you're like, who the fuck is Day? Like what's happening? And they have this one moment, you know, like between their minds. I feel like that is so much more romantic, but
Yeah.
but Sarah wants you to focus on Bryce and Hunt in this book. And I'm just like, well, they're together. Like, I know they love each other. And the whole part where they were like, yeah, we're mates. We'll just go with that. Like, like I was just like, yeah, we know you're mates. Like, we understand that you're together. Like, you're committed. But like, it's a very Bryce and Hunt way of conversation. But at the same time, I was like, can we go about it like a different a different way?
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
I just love Hunt so much, though. I liked the romance.
I really do still like him. Yeah.
With what Kamal said, is that pairing their romance against Rune and Days was like, okay, but this one is so much more sweeping and romantic.
Yeah.
But I will say, I did appreciate that they weren't separated, because I hate it when love interests in book 2 are just all of a sudden separate, and you're just like, well, like, obviously, like, they can't work things out now because like they're physically not together. So I appreciated that.
That's true. Yeah. That was nice.
Yeah. I like the found family too. But I just got the Ethan comment.
Well, I was going to say, I remembered Ethan being more in book 1 than he was, because he was so much in book 2.
Yes.
Ethan didn't come until the end. Like, wait, what? But
I love Ethan's like friendship with Rune and Declan and Tristan. I liked that they're like them moving in together. I thought that was like a cute, especially since Ethan was so like heartbroken after getting kicked out of the pack. Like, he was so sad. I loved Rune being like, "Come stay with us, be our friend."
I feel like both books are about the same page length. I think like book 1's 801, this one's like 806, and I don't know how much Flame and Shadow is going to be. I don't know if like the page number.
It's about the same. It's like 815.
Yeah, I just hope that it's less of this. Okay, let's get together and try and figure things out. Like, I don't mind that, but when it's like the same thing every single time, like now that she's thrown into, like I said, we're going to go into spoilers, but now that she's thrown into the ACOTAR world, and she's trying to figure things out, and like obviously trying to figure out how to get back to Hunt and Rune, that I hope things get more fast-paced and a little bit more with the fantastical stuff. Like, she found out a lot about the different worlds from this series.
Right.
And to be honest, it took me literally 2 whole books and rereading these for me to like truly understand what the fuck the Asteri was.
It's so hard. Like the ending with her in that room, it's still so confusing to me. I had to read that part like 3 times. I was
Me too. I like stop the audiobook and I'm like, whoa, wait, let me go back.
It made me pay attention to power so much more though in this book, like where it all was. I was like, and then
But then, Jess, we get into now in House of Flame and Shadow, Hunt and Bryce are separated.
We're gonna be separated. If there's a second love interest, though, I will riot.
If there's one,
if there's another love interest for Bryce, I will get really mad.
Oh yeah.
I hope.
Watch her have a mating bond with somebody in the ACOTAR world.
Technically, they're not like that whole conversation. She's like, "Well, we're not like it's not actually mates."
Yeah.
But they called themselves.
They were like later on. They were like, that's when Hunt is like going all wonky on the underwater submarine thing. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, you're actually true mates." So they had like decided that's what we're gonna call each other, and then they ended up actually being it, which I thought was so strange.
Yeah.
I like Baxian.
I like Baxian. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So there's the harpy that died.
Too many.
The hind.
Too many bugs. We've got
the harpy, the hind, the hellhound.
Like
the hind.
The hammer.
Who
which is
Pollux.
Baxian, I think.
No, Pollux is the hammer. Harpy is the one that died. The hind is Lydia, who's Aiden Daybright. And then the hellhound is Baxian.
Yes.
So there's only 4.
I think so. And they're
I thought I was missing one, but okay.
Is Pollux called something?
He's the hammer. Pollux is the hammer.
Yeah.
She was going in between the real names and those names, and I was like, girl.
I was so confused.
I hate Pollux. I hope somebody shoots him.
But I will say, Day, the Hind, Lydia, whatever you want to call her, and Rune, I'm very excited because technically they're in the same world. They're going to be hopefully in same world in the next book. So I'm hoping he opens up his mind to her again, because like him blocking her out made me tear up a little bit.
It makes me really angry that he's doing that. Like he doesn't realize that like to be in her position, she had to do the things. It really bugs me. It's the same thing with Baxian. Just because Hunt thought that they liked it doesn't mean that they actually did. That was his perspective. He didn't like doing it, but he was forced to by Sandriel. Why would they have any other option? It made me so frustrated why he was getting so mad at Baxian and Lydia. And I was like, they're forced to do this. Sandriel was a bitch.
Right.
Okay, so Kamal asked, is ACOTAR the same universe but a different planet? This confuses me. So from my understanding, because I highlighted a couple of things, and so I can explain it and you guys can confirm or deny, because this is how I understand it. What Bryce learned was that the Asteri has gone from planet to planet, you know, trying to figure out where they get their powers from. Like some children are great, the adults are incompatible, stuff like that, trying to take over and stuff like that. Midgard, where they're at with all the gates, that is just where they've landed right now. And a lot of other people have come from different universes or whatever in here, like Danica and her lineage have come from somewhere else. And what they call hell is not actually hell. It's actually, I think Adis is actually in the ACOTAR world somewhere. And I could be wrong, because that's where she was transported to when she was like, I need to go to hell. And those were the people that overthrew the Asteri 15,000 years ago. And, you know, I'm pretty sure it's, oh my God, what's her name in ACOTAR? The weird one.
Amryn?
Yeah.
Oh, Amryn.
And he was like, oh, that language has not been spoken here for 15,000 years. So I don't know if it's parallel times. So like Reese and Feyre are here, Bryce and Hunter here, or if it's 15,000, like who's in the
forget time travel in this. I'm gonna get so confused.
I can't tell that part of it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways you can interpret it. Another way is that like Hell is a different planet, and she just ended up on this planet that has Prythian. Like when she teleported, when she went through the portal, it just spit her out there. So I personally feel like it's not time travel. I think we're pretty much in the same time as Midgard. But I don't know. My interpretation was like Hell is a planet, Midgard is a planet, Prythian is on another planet. I don't know.
So I wasn't sure if she went to Hell, or like Hell, what she thinks is Hell, but it's actually Prythian, or if she was supposed to go to Hell but went to Prythian.
Right.
I can't tell from like the description at the end of the book.
Right.
Prythian is just one country though, so couldn't Hell be the planet, and then Prythian is just the country on the planet?
That could absolutely be it too. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know.
I'm getting caught up in comments.
I was going to ask, do you think the Throne of Glass characters are going to show up?
I
think they will.
Easter egg in Kingdom of Ash. So,
but like in this next book,
I think it's a possibility. Maybe not this next book, but like, I feel like it'd be weird if she never incorporated them.
But that's going to be so many characters. Like, there's already so many characters now, and now she's on a whole other planet. So who knows all the characters we're going to get on there?
And so many characters who have like so many different names too. Like all of the characters have like names and everything. Like, guys.
Even in the very first Throne of Glass book, there's a mention of going between worlds. So I feel like if she doesn't connect them somehow, that's going to be super disappointing to me.
That'd be weird. It wouldn't make sense because of everything that happens in that series. Like you said, there's so many like portals and shit. Like they're like, you know.
Is there any descriptions of characters in Crescent City that match descriptions from Throne of Glass? Because like Reed and Rune are the same, and like Amryn and Fury look alike. So is there like any that like look like the Throne of Glass characters?
I remember looking for stuff like that because, like I said, I was spoiled for like kind of how this was going to end when I reread the Throne of Glass books like last year or the year before. Well, and one thing I looked for a lot was like the crossover with like weapons, because like we got like these special swords and like all these, and I did find some what I think is crossover there with like the names of weapons and what they looked like and So I don't know. There's definitely like things going on, but I don't know that there were necessarily characters that I was like, oh yeah, this looks like this person.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like someone said, the sword, rune sword, and Azrael's blade is the same, but I know in Nesta's book there was like, I haven't reread Akka, of course, Sword of Flames. I couldn't think of that name. But like, I think there was some weapons in there that were also
That's right. Yeah.
mentioned. That where is it and where did Nesta get that? Like, I haven't reread that one. But I think, not spoiling Throne of Glass or anything, but there's a mention of like an enslavement type thing in
True.
the Throne of Glass series that kind of reminds me of how Hunt is a slave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Brown thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if how that kind of, you know, I don't know. Also, how like Throne of Glass opens up where like you're not supposed to use magic, and then
Very true. Yeah.
like how that's been like kept a secret type thing. So I just haven't read the Throne of Glass series. Like I haven't reread it, so everything's a little bit fuzzy for me. But
The sword, the star sword that Rune has, is what kills the. Oh God, I can't remember what they're called.
Reapers.
Yeah, those like things, and that they're not supposed to be able to be killed. So I wonder if Azrael's blade was related to the person that killed the Asteri.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And like maybe that blade can kill the Asteri.
But only if Bryce was holding it.
Yeah. So only if somebody who has the gift is wielding it. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is actually interesting because when we're talking about like what it is, I don't know if he did something because he was right on her tail when she went through. So I'm just like, I mean, like the ACOTAR world, they're pretty damn smart, but this like gate portal shit is gonna take a lot. That's a lot for them to do. Because I don't remember mentions of like different portals, but I do have a couple of highlights that towards the end of the book, I purposely did it on my Kindle because I was like, I wanted to mention these because I think for the next book, it's going to be super important. So, so someone said about, oh my gosh, where'd it go? Someone, I think this person,
Readalong.
Yeah, he said something. If you're interested in your own star-born bloodline, specifically hailed from a small isle a few miles from the mainland, and while the mainland had all manner of climes, the isle existed in beautiful, near permanent twilight, but only a select few in the entirety of your world could shift from their humanoid forms to animal ones. The Midgard shifters were Fae from a different planet. All the Fae in the world shared their form of an animal. So it mentioned something with Dusk, and I think that Bryce came from the Dusk Court, like her lineage. Because it also says, so the star that will lead us back to the world through you, they overthrew our brethren who once ruled there. We have not forgotten. Our initial attempt at revenge was foiled by your ancestors who also bore that star in her chest. The Fae still have not atoned for their deaths of our brothers and sisters. Their home was rich in magic. I crave more of it. So I found like just a couple lines that I feel like Sarah threw in there. I'm like,
all of the High Lords in ACOTAR have like an animal form.
Yes.
So they can all switch to something.
Yes. Oh. Okay.
So will the next not Throne of Glass, the next ACOTAR book take place then after these books?
That's what I'm like, after Flame and Shadow.
So now you have to read them.
Yeah, I think so.
Staggered.
I read them in publication order.
Yeah.
Oh, when was this said? The sword and the dagger reunite, the world will be healed.
It says that there's like a prophecy. It says that when they go to the mystics.
Yeah.
Which is why I figured like the sword and the dagger could kill the Asteri. Like together could kill the Asteri.
Okay. And Throne of Glass has mountain range. Wait,
There's
what?
definitely like in Throne of Glass, like there's so many like geographical features and like names and like things that like could absolutely be connected to other series.
Well, for the longest time, okay, in Throne of Glass, there's a character that starts with an F. I think is his last name. No, it's one of the for Maeve. It was one of her slaves.
Oh yeah. I can't remember his name either, but I know what you're talking about.
I thought that was the same name as Danica Finn, like her last name.
Oh,
Fenrir.
Fenris versus Fenrir.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like it is oddly similar,
It is oddly similar.
and I'm like,
But that's also like the root Latin word for wolf. So
True.
okay, yeah. So I'm like, I don't know if it's just a coinky dink or if it's like there's a reason.
but I wouldn't be surprised if they were connected. Like I think that would be super
Wasn't he a wolf? Fenris and Gabriel? No, Gabriel.
I'm use a wolf with a name like Fenris. Sounds
Yeah,
like.
I think he was a wolf shifter. But anyway.
Yeah.
I
think so.
definitely think Fury and Amaranth.
They say that when at the end.
Yeah.
When
The
Bryce is
petite.
like the person
Yeah.
who looks just like Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus
And
nobody
she
knows what Fury is.
and no one knows what Amaranth is.
Yeah, Amryn is either.
Exactly.
Yes.
Fury knows more than she's saying.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
Things going on.
Her and Jessica.
I was gonna say
Jessica.
Jessica is making me so angry this entire time. I was like, you know everything, and literally you can end this book right now. Like,
Yes,
oh, God.
exactly. Especially because Jessica's in House of Flame and Shadow, and I want to
Right.
know why she left the witches, and like the
Mhm.
witches seem like assholes compared like with what they're doing to Hypaxia and wanting to like kick her out.
Mhm.
I have a theory that I think Amaranth, Fury, and Jessica all come from the House of Flame and Shadow. And
Yeah.
I think that they don't want to talk about what happened.
Yeah.
And I think that they're keeping a secret. That's what I think.
Mm.
Also, I want to know who Reese's father is because we don't know who he is. I want to know who Hunt's dad is for sure. I want to know, did they talk about Rune's mother?
Rune's mother is just some rich fae person
Okay.
who was pulled by the Autumn King to breed.
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
just
Like a concubine type of thing. Is that what
Yeah,
she is?
she just like was rich and powerful,
Yeah.
and she was related to the Avalon court, so they were just brought together to just like have a kid.
Yeah, so a lot of people talk about how Adis, the little Prince of Hell, he mentioned something in the last book about Hunt and him being like the Prince of something. So Autumn, let us know in the comments who you think it is. I don't care if it's outlandish. Like I'm curious.
Will it be a spoiler though? Because I know. Well, first of all, this third book is out already online, and people
What?
are spoilers
Yeah.
galore
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
It got
Yeah.
leaked
Spoilers.
in Portuguese, I think.
Oh my God.
And
Barnes
it's
and
all
Noble
over
person
Twitter,
took
I
a
think.
picture of
I
it.
have not looked. So if there's anything you might have heard online, please don't tell us because it could actually be true. Just saying.
Okay, if you found something online that could be a spoiler for House of Flame and Shadows, don't. But if it's like your own personal, like I have a theory,
Right? Yeah.
Yes, and that's
Feel free to share.
good thinking. I know Jessica was probably be like, I know all of this.
literally she was like, Bryce is in the library a lot, and where Danica was, and Bryce was like, okay. She's like, go figure it out. I'm like,
Yeah, I swear Jessica knew all about Danica and didn't tell Bryce
knew.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
I love that theory, Autumn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't
That's
help
cool.
but think about like Nesta and Gwen in the library at some points reading this. Yeah, trying to make.
I barely even remember that book. I need to reread it because
Oh,
I remember loving it.
God, I gotta reread everything. I literally forgot that Cormac existed in this book. He showed up.
Yeah, me
I was like, I thought that I remembered so much of this book, and then he showed up, and I was like, I remembered.
Yeah.
Nothing. Never mind.
No,
Okay,
literally
so
from the
now-
prologue, I was like, who are these people?
I remembered the
The
prologue.
prologue.
and,
I love the prologue.
characters that were like
Who?
sort of important, but then Cormac showed up, and I was like, but then he died in this book anyway, so I was like,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
that's why
he
I
wasn't really
forgot
that
him.
important.
He was not that important.
Yeah. Yes,
Yes.
this was in the epilogue of Crescent City 1 that they were just like sitting chatting. That's why I'm like, Jessica.
That's when they
isn't-
talked about Hunt's dad.
Yes.
Yeah, they are like, they both know so much. And I'm like, just tell him. Oh, interesting. That's an interesting theory. Lizelle?
I think that would be
Ooh,
fun.
we think Bryce is going to go through
Yeah.
some training.
That would be fun.
Well, she doesn't know all of her power. I feel like she
She like knows nothing of her
I
power.
feel
No,
she-
they like got these huge powers in book 1, and then they're like, we're not allowed to use them. I was like, you're just gonna sit there
I know.
and not like test it?
Okay, I don't remember Tower
I
of
don't
Dawn.
remember Cats and Tower of Dawn, so that's
One
interesting.
Oh, found it in their stores.
It was in Kroger. Yeah,
Yeah.
someone saw it.
Really? Holy cow.
I
That's
think that
crazy.
I think Cormac really did die. And if he didn't, it's like a cop out. So he can like go away and maybe be like undercover somewhere else. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think he sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he just was like, Sophie's dead. I don't want to be with this anymore. We're done.
He seemed
Now,
like
I
he
did-
wanted to die.
I did have one highlighted part at the end of like I'm at 99%. Okay, so the dark hair female whispered towards the Star Sword and she said Gwydion, Gwyddion. Yeah, what is that?
Is that reminds me of a weapon in Throne of Glass, honestly. Like, I
Yes.
swear there is a weapon in Throne of Glass with that name. Like,
Because I remember that name and I was like, I don't think it's ACOTAR. I don't think that was from ACOTAR. I think that's from Throne of Glass somewhere.
there's a lot of swords in Throne of
You
Glass.
need to make like a map board with all those
Stressing
lines
me out.
connecting.
Oh,
Like,
Cameron's another one who just knows way more than she's saying. She
Oh,
can
yeah.
say so many
Yeah.
things, and
Yeah.
she's just like, you guys.
She's the one who says that. She's the one who says that.
I know.
Yeah.
So
But she
I'm
can
like,
say so
She
many.
knows.
well, my thing is like, if they have the Star Sword and they think it's from Throne of Glass, it's someone from the Throne of Glass world. Bring that to Midgard, and then like over the lineage from Rune's family, the Star Sword was like from. Listen, my mind goes crazy with theories. That would be cute if she did become a Valkyrie.
Bryce and Nesta are both so sassy. They're gonna have some serious sass.
I know.
They're gonna have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do find it interesting though that Hunt can like propel her powers farther. I found that interesting because I don't think that's happened in ACOTAR or Throne of Glass. No.
Which is maybe more evidence that they are true mates, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. I thought of Gwen when I've heard the sword name. I thought of Gwen too, but I don't.
Oh,
That's not her name though.
no, it's not.
It's not her name. I think her name is just Gwen.
Yeah, it is.
That's crazy, Autumn. I love that theory. I love
Yeah,
that
I
theory
How
a
do you
lot.
remember this?
I definitely think there's connections between those, like, the beasts in the ACOTAR world.
Mhm.
Like the Bone Carver and Bryaxis and
Yeah.
the Lady in the Woods, the Weaver or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
They mentioned the Bone Quarter in Midgard,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
there's a character, the Bone
Carver.
Carver.
So I'm like, listen, is that a coinkydink or are you trying to like?
She uses a lot of the same words, so
Yeah.
go either way.
I mean, in Crescent City, it's called First Light, and then in ACOTAR, it's called Fey Light. Like, really, you couldn't come up with something other than
Okay,
Fey Light?
Rachel, we're not crazy. It's a missing sword.
A missing sword.
yeah. I was like, I
That
know
they have.
that name has been thrown around. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Oh, Gold Rin? Oh, okay.
Good question, Kamal. I don't think.
Think so?
No, I think she's been contracted to do at least a couple more Crescent City books. Like, I
This is-
remember
That's not the last house. Like, she
True.
like House of I
Many
don't know.
Waters is the fourth one. But
What's the house with the witches in it, though?
Flame and Shadow.
No.
Yeah,
they're
there are four.
They're not in
houses.
Flame and Shadow.
Oh, they Earth and Blood.
Yeah,
They're
they're
Earth and Blood.
They're
yeah.
in Blood. Okay.
Witches, yeah.
But what is
So
she
if-
going to call the books when she's out of the house names?
Right?
What's going to go next? I don't know.
Then she'll just do another spin-off and it will be something else. A
Or maybe
whole new
they'll
You
series.
have to change it up just slightly, like a quarter.
She has to finish one of
Silver
these
Flame,
series
Silver
before
Flame.
starting something new, though. She can't.
Well, I think I don't know if she planned this from the beginning of finishing Throne of Glass and then like dropping hints to see in that series. If anyone picks it up, but I think maybe, I don't know how she's going to merge, if she's going to merge the two series, because it's like a court of and then a house of. I mean, they're basically the same word, like house, court, like you can use it interchangeably. So I don't know how she's going to merge it, but I think someone said during an interview or something that her publisher contracted her for like 7 more books, but they didn't say what series or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very
But didn't she say a long time ago that her books all exist in the same world? Like a long time ago.
I feel like she probably
did.
Like, yeah.
Thank you for nothing.
Oh, Throne of Glass.
I got a
I read the
speed read
first
this
one.
Throne of Glass series now.
Yeah, I've read the first one, and I already kind of like.
I'm gonna bully y'all. Y'all need to read the Throne of Glass series.
It's my favorite series. The first
It's
2
my
books
favorite Sarah J. Maas
aren't
series.
the best. It's mine too. I love it. It's so good, and I feel like it's gonna have more connections probably than ACOTAR, but.
Yeah. I think
other
so.
than
It's
just
not-
her going to the ACOTAR world, I think that there's a lot more Throne of Glass stuff that I haven't picked up because I haven't reread Throne of Glass. So like, you know, when you read through it once, you only pick up so much, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I definitely want to reread it.
This is interesting what the last comment said. It's not the last CC book, but it's the last Bryson Hunt centered book. Which would be very
she's gonna
interesting.
do like what she did for ACOTAR, where like switches from Reese and
Okay.
Feyre to other characters.
So maybe then Rune would get completely his own.
I want a whole book about Rune.
I fear for Rune. I fear for him.
Didn't she say y'all should be scared for Rune? And I'm like,
She did say that, and I am
If he
not
dies,
that. That's why I
Well,
said
she
that I
did
was
say
afraid
that.
for book 3 because she said that, and I was like, she better not
did.
hurt Rune.
I have
more
to speed
invested
read
in
this book because I do not want any spoilers. Oh my gosh. I can just imagine if there's a huge character death, that is going to be all over the internet.
Can't do
Yeah.
it. I will not be able to go
I think
on
I'm gonna have
TikTok
to
or anything for ages.
I'm gonna have to stay off of social media for like,
Mhm.
like the whole
Mhm.
week that I'm reading this book. Like, geez.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have also reread A Court of Silver Flames then before.
I mean, like, I have 10 days, and I'm like, I can squeeze it in.
Can I squeeze the whole Throne of Glass series in 10 days? Maybe.
If you don't do anything, it took me a whole week to read the whole Throne of Glass series. So
That's pretty good though. A
Wow,
week.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Some of those books at the end are really long.
Yeah, they are.
Ash is almost
Good
1,000
timing.
pages. Damn.
yeah, they were good. It was, man, that should be really
The wait in between Empire of Storms and then you had Tower of Dawn and then you got Kingdom of Ash. That was painful. That was painful in real life because there was such a big gap in her publishing because she had the ACOTAR series come out in between then too, and it was just like.
I never
know about
know.
the Wolf in the Tank also.
Yeah, that too. But I also, for Sarah, I never, bless you, this woman could write whatever and I'll read it and, you know, see where it goes because I feel like she writes. I don't know. I really like the way that she writes.
Yeah, I don't think we need to worry about her not ever having a contract, but it's just
Right,
about how much they.
Selling person
Yeah.
right now.
Well, when did A Court of Silver Flames come out?
2021, I believe.
Yeah, I think
Because it's
that's
been
right.
that long since
After-
we had an ACOTAR book.
It came out after Crescent City 1.
It did. Yep.
Crescent
next
City 1
year,
came out
yeah.
in 2020.
2020.
And
Yeah.
then that one.
Which I wonder why she dragged the ACOTAR series out just a little bit longer so she could weave kind of this story. So I wonder if it's going to be like every year is going to be a different. So it's like a Crescent City book with Bryce, well, like this one, and then House of Flame and Shadow. Then we'll get the next ACOTAR book. Then we'll get like something else. And I wonder how much will
Yeah,
run.
isn't the next ACOTAR book supposed to be Azrael's?
Probably.
She actually said that or not.
Yeah, I don't think she has. I feel like when
Yeah.
that little
could be.
novella came out originally, the snow one, whatever it's called,
Frost and Starlight.
I feel like that was supposed to be like the end of that series.
Yeah.
And then she didn't have plans to continue it. That
But
was
then
just
she
sort of
got
to
it.
give everybody a happily ever after, you know? And then she did, so I don't know.
If this
Interesting.
happens.
I did catch this on my reread where Hunt knew everything and then it says, and then he knew nothing at all. They
Yeah,
tattooed
I wrote that in my.
Asian was my favorite though, so I could get on board with this.
They tattooed him again with the slave
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of hope that there's a little bit of pain in their relationship ahead because it was just too smooth sailing.
I mean, they're already separated by worlds. They're worlds apart at this point.
Exactly. Let's experience that pain. Also take his memory away. Let's make it angsty.
Yeah, I actually wrote that in my first time I read. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I actually wrote that in my book when I read that line, and I reread that earlier, and I was like, "She's gonna kill me."
Not like literal.
Give us this. I think she did say that Rune. Everyone's gonna hurt for Rune, so I don't think he's gonna die. I will write.
I don't think he's gonna die. No.
I think she's foreshadowing it too heavily for her to actually kill him. I feel like she mentions it a lot, you know.
But I think that Bryce and Hunt are gonna have some pain. They're gonna have to deal with each other being apart for a little bit.
I mean, we haven't had like a really giant main character death.
Yeah.
Like we've had people like, okay, like they're well, I mean, like book one that hurt, but like they weren't like
It's like the first chapter.
huge important character. So
But also in Throne of Glass, she put some of those characters really through it throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
Like some of that still scars me. Like I remember those parts. But
Jess, do we need to like buddy read Throne of Glass together these next couple of weeks?
I haven't read it.
I just got the first two paperback from Target to force myself to
I have
start
all the
soon,
original hardcovers.
I have 2 editions of Throne of Glass, and I'm like, do I need the new paperback covers too?
Yes.
I got.
I have the original hardbacks, and I'm like, those are too precious.
I have those too.
I have the original hardcovers, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to touch those.
Does anyone have the very original Throne of Glass with the girl? Like, not the illustrated one, but that one.
I found it once, a couple of like many years ago, and I regret so much that I didn't buy it because I was like not a fan at that point. I hadn't read ACOTAR. It was after because I only read Throne of Glass when it was like first coming out. I read the first Throne of Glass when the rest of the series wasn't even finished yet, and ACOTAR wasn't even out yet. And then like a couple years after that, I found that book, and I was like, oh, I've already read this book. I don't like this cover. And then I didn't.
The cover is so like 2010s wide.
It is.
It would have been like probably like $5. I am an idiot.
That is worth so much money now.
I have an arc of House of Earth and Blood and an arc of ACOTAR that was gifted to me. Like I didn't.
Oh my god!
They were just sent to me because this person was like, all of a sudden decided they didn't like Sarah J. Maas, and they're like, "Do you want these?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they are never leaving my possession.
Oh my
they're
god!
Like, they're so precious.
I won an arc of ACOTAR in a giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
I want the tour edition of House of Earth and Blood. I want that one. I have the Sky and Breath one, but I don't have the Earth and Blood one.
I don't think I've even seen that tour.
Yeah, it's just a dark. It's like just a red hardback with like a moon on the front.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
I want it.
Well, I didn't even think about this comment, but
I've been thinking about that this whole time.
Yeah.
I saw a theory on TikTok where they said that Jessica was one of the 13. And that when all that happened in Throne of Glass, she was thrown to a different planet.
I feel so left out. You guys.
I think that's
right. I was like, I feel so left out right now.
I think that would be cool if it was true, but I don't know if I'm ready to.
Sometimes I go through the TikTok hole of like theories, and then some make sense, some don't, but then after a while they all start making sense, and I'm like, at this point, anything's possible.
Anything, literally anything. Like I have no expectations going into this next book. I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
I would kind of be upset if that actually happened because the 13, that was a powerful, like, I don't want anything changing that, you know?
Right. Like, that should just stay the way it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reasoning behind it. I want to, whatever I want a tattoo of this quote.
This is the one that everyone has tattooed of.
It's so,
gosh,
I saw it on somebody at a bar, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know that quote. And then we made friends. I was like, that's how we made friends. It was like,
I saw like a wedding vow TikTok, and the guy included that in his vows to her. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I would have died if Brandon did that, but no.
That's so cute.
I'm gonna write that down for my future husband.
Notes to your future husband, please include this. Mine,
Here are
I
your
would
vows.
through love all is possible. That's the one I want. So
That one is. I love that
Yeah.
one too.
that's
I feel like the "through love is possible" is more. It can be more of like a friendship quote too.
Mhm.
True.
But for some
Yeah.
reason, the "to whatever end" is just like
romantic.
just so romantic. To me.
And speaking of through love all is possible, did anybody else feel like Baxian being Danica's mate was super fucking random?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm not super on board with the mate concept in this world, just because I feel like he hasn't really given us a reason for it. You know,
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Especially
not-
if Baxian is not a real wolf.
Right?
Not a wolf.
True.
Huh.
So like that's interesting that they could then be mates, especially because Hunt is like an angel and not a fae. So like, can you mate between houses? Like,
Mhm.
It just doesn't feel as epic as it did in her previous series. Like
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's missing
Well,
something. Like just having a
Didn't Reese
conversation.
know? Like Reese knew from the
you
beginning.
knew immediately.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, but like in this
You knew
one, they just
before
like
she
slowly
even
fell in love.
entered the fae realm.
Yeah. So that feels more epic. It's like immediate,
it
like
does.
I mean, that
you're like literally my mate, and I will do anything
insane
for you.
moment is so much
Yeah.
more exciting than we should say we're mates.
Right.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like the
Like
thing.
they're
it's like, you
exchanging
wanna-
promise rings.
Exactly. It's like, you want to be my mate? Oh, yeah, I want to be your mate. Okay, we're mates. Like,
Yeah, it's like very, very middle school relationship.
It is.
And also, like, I just totally do not see Baxian and Danica together. Their personalities, like, what?
We literally know nothing about Danica because everything we thought we knew about Danica is from
That's
Bright,
right.
who knows nothing about Danica.
Right.
Exactly.
Danica has had like 10 million secret lives.
Yeah.
I know.
What?
Every time they bring up Danica in this book, I'm like, what did this girl do now?
That's literally how I feel, and I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. But
The
secrets.
part where Bryce is looking at the picture of the four of them and is like, Fury is this crazy undercover lady. Juniper is harboring this like secret love of Fury, and Danica had all these secret lives. And I'm just this party girl high on life. I'm like, she must feel like such an idiot.
Right?
she was like, what was I doing with my life? They're all doing all these things.
She thought that they all were like on the same page, and they're absolutely not.
Oh, could be. I mean, honestly, at this point, like any theory.
Any theory is plausible.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. I hope not.
Gosh, I should have read Throne of Glass. I mean, I started it and I was
We
like,
have time,
oh,
Zay. Let's. I have a week
really
and a half.
stressed.
I mean, we can put together like you need to read this many pages each day leading up to the release. Like, I
Oh
can do
God. A
We
third
need to do
class?
like a book a day at
you-
this point. Isn't there like 8
Like
books?
a book a day?
it. Yeah.
I mean, there's like 8 books, and there's
Well, I read the first one.
9 days now. So
I've read the first one, so
Okay, technically
There
they
you go.
only have 7 then. Yeah.
yeah.
You can
I
do
think
it.
we have
Call
to
things
have
six-
played really to get through the whole series too.
Yeah.
So technically,
I mean, I read Assassin's Blade after I read the whole series.
Yeah.
You know?
she has an official reading order on her website.
And I don't agree with
Yeah,
it.
she does.
I don't
so
either,
many
Rachel.
people don't agree with it.
I disagree.
On TikTok today, all the people were like, "Okay, that might be her official reading order, but it's not right."
It's not
I
mine.
mean, it's true though. You know, like
But the official reading order that she put on there is just the publishing order.
yeah.
Like, if
Right.
she had published Assassin's Blade beforehand, would she have changed her mind? Like,
Right. Right.
True.
I mean, she
I was
On
told to
this
read it
was
after Era of
19
Fire.
She was
or
19
something.
years old when she published Throne of Glass.
I always say you read it after Era of Fire before Queen of Shadows. That's
You
just
definitely
what I
need
was
to read it before Queen of Shadows because of actions. But I've always been in the belief that you should read it first because that's what I did, and I personally loved that.
Mhm.
But that's just me. So
Yeah, I could see that. After I read Throne of Glass, I was like, why don't they recommend you read that first? Maybe
Yeah.
there's something I'm missing, but
yeah.
oh gosh. Okay, will you guys really do that for me? Like tell me certain parts because I have all the books. Like I bought them all.
I'll do it for you, Zay. I'll do it for both of you guys.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
I'll make you page. Hell, I might reread it. I don't know. Miss the world. This is
You would
interesting. 'cause,
reread
like,
the entire series in the next week and a half.
maybe.
Tori's
I,
reading
wow.
I think the thing though is they're really fast reads too. Like they're not. That's not going to take you as long as this does. Like they're still mostly until you get towards the end. They are like upper YA, but the earlier ones especially, like you can burn through those really quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
true.
up until
Yeah.
I feel like after Queen of Shadows, that's when it got really fantasy heavy
Yeah.
for me, to where you kind of had to pay more attention to like the little words that were like kind of how Crescent City is because of how
Yeah, for
heavy it is. But like Air of Fire is still one of my favorite books, like literally of all time, and then Queen of Shadows, and then after that things just get bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And there are so many great like sub romantic plots in it. Like my favorite couple is in that series, and it's not the main couple. It's just I don't know.
Yeah, people have their opinions on the Throne of Glass couples, like who's your favorite?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, there's so many good couples in that series.
There really are.
Yeah.
I hate the Autumn King.
Oh, I hate
want
him so
somebody to
much.
chop his head off.
Mhm.
Sucks.
Why is he the Autumn King and not like the Fae King? Like why that season? Do we know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah.
Because that's very ACOTAR, though.
Yeah.
It is very accurate.
Because it's the Witch Queen. They just call her the Witch Queen. They don't call her like a specific queen. And then
Right, like, why is he the Autumn?
the Under King. So,
Right.
I mean, like he should be the Bone King, I guess technically, but that's a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I will do it. I will put something together tonight. I'm inspired.
How many pages do you have to read?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull down all my books.
I thought that Hunt smelled different because he had mated with Bright.
Yeah,
I think so
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
because they said that they'd be able to tell, and that ruined their whole like engagement thing.
Okay.
I do have the audio of Throne of Glass if I want to reread it. Just pop it in tomorrow.
Those audios are really great because it's the same narrator
Yeah.
as the Crescent City ones. Yeah.
Mm, okay.
Oh.
They are an
First one.
underrated couple.
This must
They're
be
my
from
favorite.
Class, I don't know.
They're
who
my
they are.
They're
favorite.
my
I've literally
absolute
never even heard of
favorite.
those
I don't know
characters
who these people are.
before.
They must be from.
I
deep
love them
into
so
the
freaking much.
Are they not in book one?
No.
I don't recognize those
They're
names.
like
I don't
way
recognize that
later.
name at
Way
all.
later.
Yeah.
There are probably, I want to say you're keeping up like in the later books with like 15 to 20 different characters.
So many people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even just this book was like a lot to keep in my head. I was like, this is
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of characters.
But I loved it so much. Like they're so different. Like she writes them so differently too. Oh, so
Yeah.
good. Does someone have an answer for this though? I don't think there is. It's just
No, because they're just like because the there are other Fae, but the Avalon King is just called the King of Avalon, like of
Right.
the Avalon, right? They
Yeah.
don't have him as like a season. It's just the King
Yeah.
of Avalon.
okay. That's what I was thinking. All the love for.
Yeah. They're my
Feel
favorite.
so left out.
Yeah, I told you. I literally told you to read
I'm
it.
like, I don't know these people.
Let's read it.
The first book's so hard though. I've read that twice already.
Then
in
don't
the
read
past,
it
like, 5
again.
years, but I don't remember anything. 'Cause
You
I
won't
read it
remember
years
it.
Look up
ago.
Wiki or
Like,
something and just get the overview of it. Just
True. Yeah.
I was in high school and
I liked the first
10 years ago. So
I mean, it
I
was
like
fine.
the
I just don't like how the romance played out in the first one.
it is Autumn. Our favorite couple is the
Yeah.
same Autumn.
all I
Yeah.
know is that McKay's cat's name is Dorian, so he must be
Of
important.
Oh yeah.
Dorian is my baby. The way I feel about Dorian is the way I feel about Rune.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a really, really good comparison.
That
a
is
good
just-
comparison.
Hey.
Yeah, I just.
I
Okay, that
also
just
love
made me
those
literally want to
couples.
binge it.
All three of them.
Yeah.
Sartak and Nezrin are underrated. Nobody ever
They're
mentions
so
them.
underrated.
Ah, they're so
underrated.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
feel
mean, like you have to go into it and just realize like this is like 2010 YA. Like it's you gotta kind of adjust. It gets much better, but the
Yes.
first book it can be hard because
You read it when
it's
she was
just
a
changed.
teenager too, right?
Yeah, I think she was
You
like
wrote it when
16.
she was
She wrote it
19.
on LiveJournal. Like she would publish.
I
which
didn't
is
know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mhm.
anyway, I think one in our rereads, I think little Lahaba. And
oh my god, I missed Lahaba on series.
It's so cute. She's a little bookmark.
It's so cute.
There's so much Lahaba mentioned though in the second book.
There is.
Yeah, with all of
that
the
too.
little
The
fire
spikes.
spikes that they take out of the ring and the dragon. It's pretty cool.
That's a very interesting plot point.
Yeah, the dragon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want to know more also about the Viper Queen.
Me
Yeah, come on. She
Like,
knows
she
shit.
seems like kind of a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the great. Yeah, this comment. Okay, Air of Fire
Yeah.
is when things really start to like kick in.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So once you get to the third book,
before.
and thankfully the first and second are relatively short,
They
that
are
things
very
just really start going. Like
Mhm.
Air of Fire through Tower of Dawn, kind of right before Empire Storms, that all kind of like blends together for me. Like I don't know where one book ends and the next one begins because I read them so quickly because it's just
Yeah.
Oh, I've read 2 books. I just looked at my Goodreads because I was like, why do I keep saying I'm on Air of Fire? I read 2 books. I can do this.
you can do it.
I do this. I do it.
I mean, I agree that that's like a very obvious.
Very
obvious
obvious.
thought. And I will say I was definitely annoyed that like we had spent 500 plus pages on this
Searching for this child.
of Sophie and Emil, only for Sophie to be dead. Well, who knows? I mean, I guess she really is that they saw her body. And then Emil, who knows? Maybe he really does have powers and they're just saying he's human. I don't really know. But it just felt very anticlimactic. Like we spent so
I
much
agree.
time on these 2 characters and then like that was how that ended. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It also really irritated me with Bryce too, because she's supposed to be like, they're supposed to be a team with all these people, and then she's just like not telling anyone.
Yeah.
She's pulling an Aelin Galathinius is what she's
like,
doing. By not telling anyone what she's doing, and then they
Exactly.
find out afterwards. And
I literally thought that in my head, Rachel, before you said it. I was like, wow, that's what an Aelin thing to do.
I felt the
So
same
Aelin.
when they're at the like whatever mating ceremony for Celestina and Ephraim,
Yeah.
and then she goes up to them and is like, "Hunt's my mate," and Cormac's like, "What the hell?" Like she's entirely under the bus. And I felt really bad for him, and I'm like, Bryce, like your actions have consequences here.
I mean, obviously we see in this book, she doesn't think sometimes. I mean, the fact that like she
She could have just given the Cormac a heads up, like, by the way, you might want to like tell your father, like, I'm gonna go do this.
Yeah.
But it also goes back to the thing where you have like Fury, who's this badass assassin, Juniper, who's like going after Fury, Danica, who's keeping secrets, and Bryce is just a party girl. So like you got to give her a little grace. She's like trying to catch on.
And I actually I do like that about Bryce. I feel like she's kind of the only main character that Sarah has written that isn't just like incredibly competent in every way. You know, like
Just a
she's
normal
kind of a
person.
big screw up in a lot of ways. You know, so
Yep.
I like that
That's true.
about her.
And I like that it like works that she's like half human and like
Mhm.
she feels like what like a normal person would be. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
the like TikToks or reels when you like show that what they're like, what would I be if I got dropped into a fantasy? I wouldn't be like fighting all these people. I'd be dead in a second. That's kind of how Bryce feels, where she's just kind of like flying by the seat of her pants. She's
Yeah.
just, like,
Yeah.
hoping
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it can definitely be irritating at times.
Yeah, I'm wondering though with the whole Viper Queen and Therion and stuff like that, if that's going to be in the house of what the hell's the water people?
Many
Many
waters.
Waters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to pick up maybe in that book. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I feel like his story went off the rails a little bit with all that. I was like,
Victoria
oh,
will DNF if it's going to be a book about him.
And a book is entirely about him and his whining. Oh my god. He's just complaining about how like I was like with his implications of him wanting to have sex with the River Queen's daughter. He's like, "Oh, I wanted to bang her because she was hot, but then I didn't realize that I would have consequences about that." He's the queen's daughter. You didn't think your queen who terrifies you would have some issues with that? Oh god.
Victoria, you feel a certain type of way about him.
I was like trying to get through my reread, and those were the only parts that I was bored during. The only parts that I was bored.
Yeah.
I was like, this book is going so well, and then he would show up, and I'd be like, I don't feel like reading this anymore.
Yeah. Part of me likes to like think when I have moments like that where there's like a character like with Chaos, I was like, you know what? It's gonna be for the greater good. Like you just gotta keep pushing through. So like I'm just hoping that like later books or something else that it'll like pay off. Like
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully, because I didn't mind him in book 1. I mean, he wasn't in book 1 that much, but I didn't mind him in book 1. It was just that he got like whiny in this book.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, this is a great yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Just sound like an idiot. Want you to be smarter. Learn from your mistakes.
No. Why would they do that? That makes for us
Never
little
that.
less. Her name's
Yeah,
Ariadne.
they don't even give her a name.
No, I thought her name was Ariadne.
No, that's the dragon.
No, that's the dragon.
Oh.
No.
Thought that was her name.
Oh.
He just always refers to her as the River Queen's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You think he would have
Yeah.
planned something? Right. I don't know. We'll see.
That's why I'm like, have faith. I feel like Sarah wrote this in a specific way for a specific reason. Let's just see if it pays off. That's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, that's the thing that I think she's proven is that most everything that she has always has a payoff down the road.
Yeah.
Like,
She has a plan.
yeah.
Which is nice to read, like an author that you've read like so many books by them. Like basically we read all of her books, like some of us. So we know most of the time there's a reason why they're there, but and at the moment you might not know the reason, but you know it's gonna pay off.
Yeah.
That was a very long. I couldn't get the words out right. I got stuck. Yeah. Lexi going off about.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yep.
Does he have a family?
They've only talked about like his sister.
Yeah.
His sister died.
Yeah. But I think his mom, maybe? I want to say they mentioned that. I also did not pay very close attention to his chapters. Yeah, I think all of us, I think we have kind of all said this, but for Flame and Shadow, we kind of really don't have any expectations because of how this one ended, but we're all excited to read it.
Yep.
In 10 days.
Driving to the store on the day.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm not trusting any pre-orders.
I know, me
Well, I
neither.
pre-ordered it, but I'm
No.
just gonna go to the store on the day anyway.
I pre-ordered Walmart, and I'm gonna go to Barnes and Noble.
Oh, I pre-ordered Walmart, and I'm gonna go to Walmart because it's the closest to my house. I'm just gonna show up and be like,
I also pre-ordered the Kindle version.
I
Yeah,
pre-ordered
You're reading at midnight.
Yes, it gets to my Kindle pre-orders get in my time zone at 10 p.m. So
Because you're two hours from East Coast, right?
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So Rachel, does yours drop at 11 your time or 12?
I've never done a Kindle pre-order. I've only done like an Audible pre-order, and those come in at 3 a.m. my time.
I did that with Silver Flames too, and
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
probably
nice.
gonna do the Kindle pre-order because I know for sure like the Walmart copy is not probably gonna come into like February 1st, is what my email said. So
really,
I'm gonna pre-order the Kindle version. It's like $9 right now. It's not too bad.
holy cow, yeah.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered the audiobook, and I'm gonna pre-order. No, I don't think I'm gonna get the ebook.
Yeah,
I'll
I
pre-order
pre-ordered
the audiobook.
Too.
I also have the audiobook pre-ordered. I am so terrible. It's
I
like
have
the one
muscle
I get, like, but I'm not. I'm drawing the line at multiple physical editions. Like I get one. That's it.
Same. Yeah.
I think
rarely read the back epilogue.
I know. I don't.
Anyway, I don't even know why I care about getting it.
Like,
Right?
I'll just look up spoilers online for the rest of them.
yeah.
Okay.
I think I have the Barnes and Noble for 1 and 2, so I think I'll just go get because it's the like holographic on the front or whatever, like shiny or something. So I think I'm just gonna go get that from Barnes and Noble, and then I'll probably pre-order the audio for sure because I like to physically read along and listen because I feel like I comprehend it better. But now I'm like, do I need the Kindle version so I can start reading at midnight?
You can't listen to the audiobook at midnight though.
I know.
So
But I can
Yeah,
start.
that's pretty lame.
But like,
I don't
I feel
like
like
that.
I know
start at 3
myself.
a.m.?
No, I'm not waiting until 3 a.m.
I mean, I'll be awake. I don't sleep, but
Me neither.
I could do it.
But they make it so hard because you can't get the physical book at midnight because they don't deliver it like
No.
after. So
Right.
I have like a few authors that I will do this with where I like have all versions because I'm like, I know I love this book and I'll probably reread it and maybe I want to read it as a Kindle. Maybe I want to listen to it.
I will probably buy the Kindle version. I have the Kindle version of House of Earth and Blood and House of Sky and Breath, so
Yeah,
I
you might as well.
might as well have all three.
I didn't even know I had the audiobook for House of Sky and Breath until I went to see on Audible if I could purchase it. And it said, oh, it's already in your library. It was like,
House of Earth and Blood was the first audiobook that I ever bought on Audible.
It feels like a free book.
exactly.
Right.
In 2020, when I got my Audible account, House of Earth and Blood was the first book that I ever bought on Audio.
But we're all very excited. Well, we're coming up on an hour. Unless you guys have any theories you want to throw out there. I don't really have anything else, but nothing.
I'm not that big brained.
Me neither.
I don't really like theorizing a whole lot because I don't want to be disappointed if it's
Right.
like I don't want to be hoping for something. Like I just want to experience it, you know.
Right.
But,
Like the only theory that I had was I thought Day, the first time I read it, I thought Day was hypaxia.
yeah.
Oh.
And I was totally wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I was
see
right
that, though.
the first time I read it. It was the one thing that I guessed in the book correctly. I was trying to guess other things, and that was the one thing that I got correct.
Like as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, this is probably going to be this. But like before it comes, I'm just sort of like, I don't blank, head empty, no thoughts. Just let's do this.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
yeah. I wonder if they're gonna come out with these editions later.
I hope so.
I
So
hope
much.
so.
I like
Gotta
these.
have something match. None of my other books match.
I like how the papers are like normal papers. Like
Yeah.
it's not like
I know. I'm annoyed with Earth and Blood being like the Bible pages.
yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to touch my copy of that because I feel like I'm gonna rip it.
I know. I'm pretty sure I read
Pages,
mine.
I was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my hands are always clammy, so I literally just like I could just like grab the page. But well, thank you
Physical
guys.
copies are more like trophies. I'm probably just gonna end up reading the ebook anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I love physical copies, but I always read on my Kindle. It's just
Yeah, I did. I highlight for annotating. When I annotate, I always read on my Kindle, highlight, and then I transfer because there's no way.
I do that too. Yeah.
So do you go through your Kindle and like look for your highlights?
Like I do like chunks at a time. Usually I do like 150
Oh.
pages. And so I'll sit and like swipe through and like I'll highlight and then I'll make my comments as I'm annotating. Like
That's a good way to do it.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean it takes longer and it takes more time, but that's just how I do it. It works for me. So
Yeah.
well thank you guys for joining in the comments. It was a fun
This
discussion.
was super fun.
Thank you guys for joining for the read along. This was so fun. And I will say that Jess from Honest Fiction is having a recap video. You guys did not reread Crescent City 2. If you guys want to go check that out, she'll have that out. I think she said tomorrow, which I'm very excited because she does a great job with those.
She does, yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
thank you guys so much. And we'll all talk to you guys later. And enjoy House of Flame and Shadow.